Hello and welcome to the Health Wrap. I'm Carolyn Sawyer.
And I'm Carla Winfrey.
Good to see you. Today we're talking about people serving people during the pandemic, right?
Absolutely. You know, Carolyn, that studies are showing that more people are turning to their faith right now. And it's whether they're grieving or they're gathering with their families, they're spending more time worshiping. You know, the original church was outdoors, and some people are even doing that because we are battling COVID-19. But all faiths are concerned about what's going to happen inside these four walls. How will worship be then? And how will they continue to serve the community outside the four walls? So they learned that there are some losses, a lot of losses, but there are also some things that they gained during this experience, and they all still have hope.
By browsing the web, many people have been drawn into worship during the pandemic.
In memory of the over 550,000 people in America alone who have died from COVID-19.
A Pew survey shows that the United States leads in the world with people who say COVID-19 has strengthened their religious faith. And the faith-based community is singing praises as worshipers return back into the buildings, carefully and cautiously.
I will be doing everything in my power to watch the signs, to listen to the science, and to hear from Almighty God as to when it is safe.
We'll be foolish to crowd people into these buildings anymore. How long? I would say about an hour. We should get folks in and out.
Reverend Dr. Marvin Crawford is a pastor, physician, and professor in Lithonia, Georgia. He addresses the body and the soul.
The men like being outside. They come more than women. They'll drive up in a minute in their trucks and drink their coffee and sit in a lawn chair and with their masks on.
COVID-19 has not only stolen life, but the ability to fully mourn.
The last experience that you may have experienced may have been one of the worst, but it's not the dominant.
Reverend Johnny Porter is a pastor in Villa Rica, Georgia. He's also a chaplain, family therapist, and a COVID survivor.
What story still makes you say, I can't believe that Joker did that, right? That is what you should focus on and remember.
You know, what were you living for? You know, and you raise the question with them, would they want you to come after them? Would they really want you to follow them to a grave because they died? I say, now answer honestly. I say, answer honestly. And most of them would come to the conclusion, no.
Allahu Akbar. It is required to bury the body within 24 or maximum of 48 hours. But now in the COVID era, it is double, triple some days. Neither we have the capacity to accommodate this overwhelming request, nor we have really the expertise. So we are quite overwhelmed emotionally, operationally, and logistically.
Not all the changes are negative. Ministers say members miss the sermon, singing, and socializing. Many congregations have stayed connected.
The reality is Jesus would have never been able to endure the cross as long as he did if his body wasn't in shape.
I am a single, hardworking mother of 4 kids. Back in February, I became homeless with my kids.
So if we're paying 70% of a family or individual's rent, they're required to take their 30% rental portion and put it into a bank account.
We have a Savior who shared his grace in Jesus and has given us a great commandment to love him and love one another. And asking that question, how can we continue to be a blessing during difficult times in our community?
Trust me. Trust me. I am that I am God. I have all power.
Who do you trust in? You need a fresh perspective from last year for this year. Recover that desire. Hope again. Try again. Believe God again. recommit to purpose, apply yourself to your work, and watch God move.
And on a lighter note, meet a church lady who's been trusting the Lord for a very long time in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Educator Dr. Laverne Wimberly has attended all 52 virtual services dressed in her Sunday best.
And Carolyn, as you could see, our church lady sporting all of those hats, she is just delightful. She was a school teacher or principal, administrator in Tulsa. And this story has just gone worldwide about her. And she said, again, the attention on her is not what she's trying to do. She just wants people to realize that she's giving glory to God.
Well, when I saw it, I instantly thought of you and said, let me forward it to you and our First Lady, Roshonda. Y'all need to see this. You know, you talk about churches. Churches have actually played an interesting role through the pandemic, not only in terms of, shall we say, providing services or providing the word, but also in some instances, actually providing shelter. They're just one of a number of groups that are included in people serving other people, and in this case, the homeless.
Let me tell you one thing, you never really know what it means to need somebody on your side till you fall down and you can't get up on your own. You're gonna need a shoulder you can cry on.
For those who were not already on the streets, COVID-19 created housing insecurities that forced many families to fall through the cracks. While COVID-19 closed most churches, on the West Coast, church parking lots became organized safe havens.
Everyone has their own story and their own circumstances on what has led them to be living in their car. And so that I don't think that there's been a clear pattern of shifts in clientele since the pandemic began, but the need for safe car parks has definitely increased in the Bay Area.
Nationwide, churches, healthcare systems, and schools have been forced to answer the call. Boston offers nurses as part of a street team for the homeless.
We do rounds on the streets where we walk around the streets of Boston. We try to find people that we have connected with before who are currently being cared for by our team, or people who we do not think are connected to care or resources anywhere. And we try to engage them as a new connection.
In New Hampshire, dedicated school counselors offer a community resource guide to ensure students facing housing insecurities can still strive.
They don't often have adequate places to sleep, so they're sleeping on a couch or a floor or in a chair sitting up. So they're coming in exhausted.
They're coming in exhausted. They don't have a personal space to do their assignments at night or a quiet space during the day on their remote days when they're supposed to be at the computer. So they're missing academics due to not having a space to do their work or a quiet space to join their class for remote. Or they are hopping from home to home and they leave their laptop at somebody else's home and then they can't go retrieve it, or they couldn't get to their clothes where they were the night before and so now they need new clothes. So I think their work performance is usually at the bottom of their priority list at that point because they're hungry and they're tired and they're stressed out, and so whether or not they got their homework done really doesn't matter to them a whole lot at the end.
The U.S. government recently reported the homeless rate increased 2.2%, but the report does not include the time during the pandemic. U.S. Housing Secretary Marcia Fudge says housing should be a right, not a privilege, and ensuring that every American has a safe, stable home is a national imperative.
As a nation, we have a moral responsibility to end homelessness, and we know how to do it. It has been shown time and again that helping people exit homelessness quickly through permanent housing without restrictions prevents a return to homelessness. At HUD, we are committed to putting housing first because a healthy, productive life begins with a safe and stable home.
Now, in addition to the housing insecurity, the latest challenge? How to vaccinate our neighbors without an address.
So, Carla, I was so encouraged by the counselors in the school in particular who recognized that, this COVID has created almost a new kind of homeless family. And they're having to do things to make sure that these students are still in a position to comfortably learn. And so, hats off to all counselors. And we've talked about people in school and the heroes that they are, but counselors and social workers and churches that are opening their doors. Hats off.
Well, speaking of hats, people are wearing hats and masks and coverings, a lot of things when they travel right now. And our own producer, Rashonda Pratt, had some things that she wanted to show us that she came up while she was traveling. And I think a lot of them are really cute and they're convenient and they're part of safety.
Hi, everyone. Recently, my husband and I had the awesome privilege to travel to Southern California. It was our first time traveling to the West Coast, and what an experience it was. But if you're like me, you're probably wondering, what's travel like during COVID? So if you never had that experience of traveling during pandemic, I want to share with you some of the things that we saw, but also some of the things that I went and purchased in order to make sure that we always remained safe. So one of the things that I noticed during COVID is a lot of people were still making sure to stay socially distanced while in the airport. As you can see from this video here, this is some video that I took at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. You can see that people are wearing their masks, and that was really encouraging to see that even though people are traveling in the airport, people are trying to maintain and make sure that they're still protecting themselves and other travelers. So I did a lot of research to kind of see what is out there and some of the things that we can use to make sure that my husband and I were traveling safe in the middle of a pandemic. So number one, we always made sure that we had our handy dandy wipes and hand sanitizer. But the other thing that we did is I found online these face mask and shields. So as you can see, they actually come unassembled. So you actually have to put them together. And I just want to show you how easy and simple this is, right? So they come in pieces like this. This is the face shield part. These are the glasses. And then you just pop them together like this. They're also super easy to travel with. Ladies, they fit in your handbag. Collapse them, and look at this. Fits right in your pocketbook. So you can put these on, right? Making sure that you stay safe. I know it looks a little weird, right? But we're staying safe. I've also seen some people wear the face mask like this. So that way you're still protecting yourself. And of course, wearing your mask. Okay? My favorite thing that I found online and I'm still using now. And ladies, you'll appreciate this. I know for many of you, why put on lipstick when it's just going to come off on your mask, right? Well, I found something that makes sure that doesn't happen. This thing right here, it actually works. So you put it over your mouth like this. I'm going to just demonstrate it before I put my mask on so you can see it. The thing that's really great about this, it also helps with breathing because you have these holes right here that help with the airflow. So you're not struggling to breathe, which sometimes can happen with a mask. But look at this. I get my mask out. I have on my lipstick, right? And then you put this on, especially if you're at an event, okay? You put it on under your mask, put it on like this, like this. Look at that. Voila. Okay, now check this out. I'm going to take it off and look at this. No lipstick. Stays on the lips, not on the mask. One of my favorite things that I have found to use while we're all going through this pandemic together. Listen, remember to stay safe. There's all these tools you can find right on the World Wide Web. And ladies, get you some of these and keep them in your pocketbook. Trust me, you'll like them. All right, I'm Rashonda Pratt for Docs on Call.
I don't want to show you my mask. I don't want to show you my mask with all the lipstick, okay?
I love that. You know, I'm going to order one of those. In fact, I'm going to order some for some of my friends, so you may get one from me.
Well, the other thing she showed me was the seat covers, which I thought was interesting. So I have a colleague, of course, that travels as much as I do. And I said, girl, look at these things. And she hit me back in the She said, you know, I move much too fast for that seat cover. I just wipe it down and go. The key, though, is we're still, even though I know you and I both have had our shots, A lot of our friends have had our shots. The key, though, is we still have to keep our social distance. I know the CDC talked about 3 feet. Honey, I'm up to 12. Okay, I don't need you in my space or I'm okay with the distance. Okay, because I don't know who's had the vaccine and who's not. And the vaccine, remember, it's not 100%. There's still the risk that you can contract it. It certainly has some benefits for keeping us out of the hospital. So again, these are great tools to use if you're planning on doing some traveling.
Absolutely. And we are going to be right back after we hear from some special people.
Hi, my name is Caroline Landry. I use ze, them, zers pronouns. I'm originally from New Hampshire, but I've lived in Boston for the past 5-6 years. I am at the end of my second year in the Doctor of Physical Therapy program, but I also graduated from Simmons with my bachelor's in exercise science. I wanted to be a part of Docs on Call because I have a passion for justice and subverting systemic racism with education and advocacy for policy change. I've worked with people experiencing homelessness, and I want to continue to fight against inequalities in our healthcare system.
Hi, I'm Diane, and I'm a first-year nursing student at Simmons University. As a future nurse, it is extremely important to me that there is accessible, reliable information about COVID-19 available to keep all of our loved ones safe. I'm looking forward to what lies ahead for the Docs on Call team this year. Thank you for supporting our show, and stay safe.
And we'll be back right after this.
Let's get back to spreading the word without spreading concern. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
Welcome back from the break. Carla, we've been talking about people who have been helping people through this pandemic, and our doctors are probably at the top of the list for us because it's been about a year since we've been doing these shows, and we called on doctors so that we could get science-based information and tell his story. You went to Dr. Hildreth. We had certainly a number of doctors on that very, very first show. We wanted to take a look and talk to some doctors and see how they have been managing COVID from their perspective. And these are doctors that work in federally funded clinics all across the country.
In the public health world, for many years, people have known that if a virus started someplace, any place, it would travel enormously quickly.
I first heard about COVID back in December of 2019. Many of our patients have family members and community within Asia, so I think there was a heightened awareness of how severe COVID is.
I really thought it was gonna blow over. I really did. I thought it was gonna kind of come and go, and by now we'd be back to normal.
My initial reaction was, okay, yep, a new virus, yep, it can be deadly, but we have the capability, we have the infrastructure to mitigate everything that we didn't do, as it turns out.
I don't think most of us thought how bad it could get. You heard the projections, but you're kind of like, oh, it's not going to get that bad. I never would imagine it.
We have experienced and will continue to experience the grief of many people dying. The risk and danger of illness is substantially higher in our communities.
The pandemic has highlighted the inequality that we have in our country today.
We know in this country that if you are poor and you are a person of color, your health outcomes are worse than if you're someone who looks like me. This is not because there is something biologically different about white people and black people and Latinx people.
It's because of those inequalities that have, for decades now, just continued to progress, and no one's really doing anything about it.
COVID affects everyone, period. How we respond to it in different communities, how we allocate resources to different communities determines who's going to thrive, merely survive, or be despised in America. There has been a lot of anti-Asian rhetoric. The Asian community has sustained a lot of blame. We've had patients who have been ostracized riding the bus because they were Chinese. We've had patients who had rocks thrown at them while they were riding the bicycle by other children, saying that they were the cause of the coronavirus.
We are all in this country dealing with some level of fear about this virus. It's crucial that we root this in science, that we separate that from anything that is political or partisan in any way.
That is the beauty of community health centers and standing to fight this together. We provide things like robust testing services for the community and walk-in drive-through testing sites.
We've reduced the number of patients so that we don't overload the waiting room. We've added more cleaning throughout the day.
We've responded by converting to telemedicine. We've responded by producing COVID hotlines in different languages. There is a whole team, and we all work together.
We should be at a point where we've got enough vaccination coverage that we can start getting to some semblance of what our pre-COVID days were.
Now it's going to be a new normal. So now, masks will be very common.
The one shining moment is the speed with which vaccines were created and developed.
We also have to recognize that in communities of color in this country, there is a level of appropriate distrust of government-led medicine and vaccine campaigns born from atrocious experiences with organized medicine in the very recent past.
You have a choice, but your best choice is to take the vaccine. We don't know what the long-term effects will be, but we do know what the long-term effects of COVID are.
This virus is widespread. We know that it is actively mutating. We must stay vigilant. Moments of challenge like this call us to bring out the best parts of ourselves, and that's what we're all doing now.
That has been the part that is most heartening, to see the medical community just really rise up and respond, to see the scientists rise up and respond, and then even the government rise up and respond.
That really is what America is all about. Rising up, becoming stronger, making the community greater and better. And that's what we hope to do by standing with our brothers and sisters across the country in this work against COVID.
Hi, my name is Taylor Nappy, and I am a senior public relations and marketing communication student at Simmons. Although right now I'm located in Southern Maine because of COVID. But I was excited to join the Docs on Call team because I felt it was important to use my skills in communications to actually make a difference, in the grand scheme of things. So in this case, working for intelligent and reputable individuals who make it their mission to bring accurate information to historically underserved and misled populations. Thanks for watching.
Hi, my name's Emily Zieg. I live in New Hampshire and I'm a Master of Library and Information Science student at Simmons University. When I'm not writing for Docs on Call, you can find me reading a book or enjoying a nice cup of tea. I'm so proud to be joining the Tom Sawyer Company and Docs on Call because as a writer and information science student, it's very important to me that people can get access to information they can trust, and I can't wait to get started.
A dynamic bunch. We're so happy to have them on board and be working with our cohesive team and getting this all done. Some powerful stories that they've suggested as well. So people serving people. That's what this has been about this entire show, and showing you cases and instances where people are serving people.
And, we have focused on the beginning of the show about faith, and we wanted to close out today showing you a beautiful song. It's a rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing, done here in Nashville at the Temple Church, where the pastor is Reverend Darrell Drumright, and the minister of worship, Victor Wynn. You have to see him and the praise choir in action. It's just beautiful.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Who has heard us, let us
Docs on Call is proud to partner with the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, Gwen Ifill College of Media, Arts, and Humanities at Simmons University, along with the School of Social Work, the Program in Public Health, and the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion.